Hare Krishna, and welcome back everyone to our weekly session on Bhagavad Gita. And we'll be discussing chapter 14 today. It's one of the most important chapter of Bhagavad Gita. In fact, all the chapters are very relevant for our day-to-day life. We'll see a reflection of who we are and what we go through in this chapter on a day-to-day basis. So that's why these are some of the most practical chapters of Bhagavad Gita. And since we are meeting after almost 2 weeks, after 15 days, just to refresh our Kali Yuga memories, we'll go through some slides which we have covered in past, what we have covered in past in Bhagavad Gita, what as a matter of as a recap. So our discussion started with Arjuna expressing doubts about fighting or not fighting, and it was the the Bhagavad Gita's the first verse is spoken by Dhritarashtra, Dharmakshetra Kurukshetra. So they are all assembled in the Kurukshetra battlefield. They all are there. All both armies have assembled there with an intention to fight. They assembled there, but when the war was just about to begin, Arjuna requested कृष्णा कि मेरा चैरियट आप दोनों सैन्यों के बीच में ले चलो, मुझे देखना है, इक्वल इक्वल विजन से देखना है कि ये दो दो आर्मीज आई है जो दिस पीपल हैव असेंबल्ड इन द battlefield. Who are they? And I want to take a final look at them before the war begins, because with all likelihood all of these will be killed, all of them will be killed in the battle, because so many maharathis and atirathis which are present on the battlefield, probably none of them will walk back home after the end of this war. So I want to take a final look at them with a from an equal distance. So Lord Krishna, who is playing a role of a chariot driver of Arjuna, he on the request of received from his master Arjuna, Krishna drives his chariot in between two armies, and then Arjuna start observing armies on both sides, and I see all his brothers, friends, uncles, and sare rishtedar friends. We knew most of the army very well, and seeing them standing there with their weapons, ready to fight, ready to kill each other. In that mood, seeing them, Arjuna loses his composure. And then he experiences mental distress. We think mental health problems are problems of today. No, they existed even then, even when about 5,000 years back, when Arjuna and Krishna personally was present on this planet. So Arjuna is started to experience these mental health issues, mental distress, compassion. He overcomes by compassion. He feels there is no enjoyment. If I kill all my relatives, how am I going to enjoy kingdom, even if I win it? What about the sinful reactions? After killing my relatives, there will be sinful reactions. So how am I going to counter those sinful reactions? Destruction of dharma and family tradition, because all the men assembled on the battlefield will get killed. तो सब स्त्रियां और बच्चे जो एक्सपोज हो जाएंगे सोसाइटी को, they will be exploited, and from that will come unwanted progeny will not perform dharmic activities, will not offer water to the pitrus. So all the traditions will collapse, and I will become responsible for that. So should I fight or not fight was the question that Arjuna was dealing with. In that mood, he surrenders to Krishna and asks this beautiful question: Prachami tvam dharma sammudha cheta. Cheta means mind, sammudha cheta means bewildered mind, confused state of mind. Pruchami, Pruchami, I am asking you. What am I asking? What is my dharma? What is my duty in this ये सिचुएशन में मुझे क्या करना चाहिए? यत् श्रेयस्याम निश्चितम ब्रूहितन में शिष्यस्ते अहम शाधि मात्वम प्रपन्नम, मैं आपका शिष्य बन रहा हूँ, आप मेरे गुरु बनिए. एंड द मोमेंट अर्जुना सरेंडर्स टू कृष्णा, कृष्णा assumes role that of a teacher or guru and start instructing Arjuna. Spoke about the concept of soul in the chapter 2. Begins by the explanation of chapter begins by the explanation, Krishna introducing the chapter The concept of soul, natve vaham jatunasam natvam neme janadipaha न चैवम न भविष्यामः सर्वे वयमतः परम। कृष्णा बोल रहे हैं कि नत्वेम वाहम जातुनासम, never was there a time when all these janadipaha, all these kings and all these people that you see, there was never a time when they did not existed. They continue to exist today, and in future also they will continue to exist. So we had past life, we had present life, we have future life. No other book, dharmic book in the world gives this information in so explicit way. That is specialty of Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita doesn't beat around the bush. Christianity doesn't doesn't talk about past life. Islam doesn't talk about past life. Many other religions of the world are very underdeveloped. They give very bare minimum information just to ask you to become a good human being. That's it. Doesn't go beyond that. But Bhagavad Gita gives, increases, expands your horizon, expand your vision right from the past to present and takes it into the future. It says you always existed. You there never was there a time when you didn't exist. So you are always existent in different body, in different family, in different country, in different form, but your existence is eternal. You exist today and you will continue to exist also after. So the worry that you have is that there will be death, and that will put an end to everything, is invalid, because there is no death for the soul. Your real nature is atma. आप आत्मा हो, शरीर नहीं हो, unborn. Krishna says in the 20th verse that I am ajo nitya shashwatoyam purano na hanyate hanyamane sharire. Ajo means unborn. There's no death. There's no question of killing anybody, because Atma cannot be killed. Atma is not born. Atma was never born, and Atma will not die also. So it is unborn. There is no death. Eternal. Ajo nitya. You cannot kill him. You cannot kill a soul. Shashwatoya Purano. Shashwat means always existent. Purano means very old. न हन्यते, जिसकी हानि नहीं हो सकती कभी। जन्य माने शरीरे, शरीर हानि करने के बावजूद उस वो वैसे ही रहता है। शरीर डिस्ट्रॉय होने के बावजूद भी उसको कुछ नहीं होता। ऐसी ऐसा वो जो एलिमेंट है, that is you, O Arjuna. That's what Krishna is trying to explain. That you are spirit soul. You have accepted a current body of a Kshatriya in Kulu dynasty, but that's not your permanent identity. This is your temporary identity. Just like uh, नाटक में कोई पुलिस का भेष पहन लेता है तो वो पुलिस नहीं बन जाता। सिमिलरली कोई चोर का भेष पहन लेता है तो वो चोर नहीं बन जाता। सिमिलरली इन दिस वर्ल्ड, whatever whatever dress we are wearing, we must be in a woman dress or a men's dress or Indian dress or a American body or a Brahmana body or a Kshatriya body, educated body, uneducated body, good looking body, not so good looking body. So whatever body that we have today, it's not our permanent dress. It's not our permanent nature. Just like the whatever kurta I'm dressed we are wearing right now, I'm wearing a white kurta. It will not be my permanent dress. When tomorrow morning I will go to office, I will probably wear a shirt and a trouser. So all of you will also do the same. So our this is temporary. Worry, think about the permanent. Permanent is your spiritual nature. That's what Krishna explains. Now this is called fundamental spiritual knowledge. This is fundamental. This is not very high knowledge that you cannot be killed. So your worry about killing is unwarranted, and don't worry about that. So knowledge about soul is necessary but not sufficient to solve real problems of life, which are जन्म मृत्यु जरा व्याधि। ये हमारे नित्य ये हमारे problems है। We don't have answers to these problems, but knowledge about soul and subsequent knowledge given in Bhagavad Gita can give answer to these problems. जन्म मृत्यु जरा व्याधि. जन्म लेने के बाद जरा होता है, वृद्धत्व आता है. Every day all of us are growing old. I crossed 50. Some of you could have crossed 20. Some of you could have crossed 30. But whatever is our age, if by passing of every day we are becoming older, we are becoming weaker, we are getting caught up by different diseases. Eventually all of us will die. Now, in this journey of the soul, where soul is accepted a body, and it will survive in this body for a certain period. If it is going to die, then why it was given a body in the first place? If he has to change the body, why he can't get a permanent body? And that is what the answer to this question is, what a soul is supposed to discover during one's lifetime. That how can I get a permanent body? How can I get a situation where I don't have to change my body? How can I, where can I get that body? Can I, where can I want to be happy. Every soul wants to be happy. How a soul can become happy in this material world? And can there be a place where I can be eternally happy? I don't want distress. I don't want to lose people. When my loved ones leave their body, I feel pain. I don't want to experience that pain. So can there be a situation, a state, or an existence where all of us can live eternally, all of us can be happy, and all of us can live there permanently, not temporarily? So Krishna's advice to Arjuna is basically going to help us achieve that state. However, whatever the duration of life we all have, 80 years, 90 years, 100 years, 70 years, 60 years, 50 years, whatever the duration of life that we all have, we have to live in this world, in this same material world. We have to eat, we have to wear dress, we have to make arrangement for living, we have to make arrangement for sleeping. So for that, Krishna is advising Arjuna not to give up your prescribed duties. If you're a student, you must study. If you're a working professional, you must do your job diligently. If you're a grahastha, you should take care of your family. If you're a homemaker, आप घर संभालिए, अच्छे से सेवा कीजिए सबकी. But simultaneously, Krishna says, also perform bhakti. Do it with a spirit of service to Krishna, and that will free you up from the reactions of karma bandhana. So that is what Krishna is going to advise Arjuna, that as long as you work for your own pleasure, you will be bound by the result, because every action that you will perform will give a reaction, and to enjoy or suffer that reaction, you have to take repeated birth in this material world. And as long as you are forced to take birth in the material world, you cannot go to spiritual world. So that is whole game, that is the whole program, how to become free from karmic reactions and go to spiritual world. That is the whole program for this material world is been created. Krishna in between gives instruction that best action, we can we can perform action, but we should not be attached to the fruits. So we should accept whatever situation that we are given. We should mitigate, try our best to improve that situation, but and at the end we should tolerate, we knowing fully that this is sanctioned by Krishna. Best way to act is to act for the satisfaction of Krishna. And if we cannot do that, then at least offer results of our actions to Krishna. That way we can remain free from reactions. Now, Krishna is saying that, Krishna, beginning of fourth chapter, Krishna reveals his supreme position. Up till fourth chapter, Krishna is speaking as a friend, as a philosopher, as a guide to Arjuna, but he has not revealed his supreme position as supreme personality of Godhead yet. That he does at the beginning of fourth chapter, where Krishna says that you and I have had many births. I can remember all of those. You cannot. Therefore, you don't know how I have given this knowledge to the sun god. And I am, you know, परित्राणाय साधूनां विनाशाय च दुष्कृतां धर्म संस्थापनार्थाय संभवामि युगे युगे. I appear in this world as at my own free will. My birth and my activities are are दिव्य. जन्म कर्म च मे दिव्यम यो एवं यो वेत्ति तत्वतः. अगर आप उसको तत्वतः जान पाओगे, समझ पाओगे, तो you will become my devotee. You will accept me as supreme personality of Godhead. You will endeavor to love and serve me during your lifetime. और ऐसा अगर आपने किया तो यू विल कम बैक टू मी त्यक्त्वा देहम पुनर्जन्म. आपको पुनर्जन्म नहीं लेना पड़ेगा ओ अर्जुना. सो कृष्णा इज indirectly telling Arjuna to become his devotee, and through Arjuna he is requesting all of us to become his devotee, so that we develop an attraction towards Krishna, we develop affection towards Krishna, we stop competing with Krishna, we give up our envy towards Krishna, envious mentality towards Krishna. We become his submissive, surrender devotee of Krishna. And in that mood, when we live our life in that mood, we will have a very good chance of going back to Krishna, thereby not coming back in this material world again. Dhyana Yoga, Krishna proceed that one must give up the enjoying mentality, as it will lead to guaranteed misery. यही संस्पर्शचा भोगा दुख योनय एवते आद्य अंत वंत कौन्तेय. उसमें आद्य अंतवंत, बिगिनिंग एंड एंड है, तो इसीलिए ज्यादा उसमें न तेषु रमते बुधा. इफ यू आर वाइज पर्सन, इफ यू आर इंटेलिजेंट पर्सन, डोंट डिलाइट इन ऑल दैट नॉनसेंस. जो हमें that sukha which we try to enjoy using our five senses. So, the eyes, the ear, the nose, tongue, and skin. So don't focus too much attention on that, because all the pleasures that you may get using your senses will have beginning and end. When it will begin, for some of us it may never begin, and for some of us it may end very soon, and in both situations you will experience pain. So dukkha yonaya evate, misery is just waiting to be delivered to you. So don't delight in them, don't endeavor for them. So देन ध्यान योगा, क्या क्या मैं ध्यान ध्यान कर सकता हूँ, अष्टांग योगा प्रैक्टिस कर सकता हूँ. कृष्ण से इज दैट्स वैलिड पाथ. आप यम नियम आसन प्राणायाम प्रत्याहार धारणा ध्यान समाधि कर सकते हैं. और समाधि में क्या होगा, आपको मेरा दर्शन होगा, जो आप अभी भी मुझे देख रहे हो. सो उसमें कुछ नया नहीं है. और दूसरा डिफिकल्ट प्रॉब्लम इन दिस इज दैट दिस इज एक्सट्रीमली एक्सट्रीमली डिफिकल्ट टू डू. इसमें मन कंट्रोल, मन के ऊपर विजय आपको प्राप्त करनी है, जो कि कली युग में इम्पॉसिबल है. चंचलम ही मन कृष्णा प्रमाथि बलवत दृढ़. अर्जुन बोलता है कि मेरा मन बहुत चंचल है, इसमें वायु को कंट्रोल कर सकता हूँ, बट मन के ऊपर मेरा कोई कंट्रोल नहीं है. सो कृष्णा सेज फॉरगेट इट. आप भक्ति कीजिए. योगी नाम अपि सर्वेशम मदगतेन अंतरात्मना श्रद्धावान भजते यो माम. जो मेरा श्रद्धा से भजन भजन करते हैं, सय समय युक्त तमो मतः, वो सर्वश्रेष्ठ योगी है. कर्म योगी, ज्ञान योगी, ध्यान योगी और भक्त योगी और अ, भक्त. तो उसमें भगवान बोलते हैं जो श्रद्धा से मेरा भजन करता है वो योगी सबसे श्रेष्ठ है, भक्ति योगी. So then Krishna explains, beginning from 7th chapter, Krishna explains his concept about himself in more detail. He gives the beginning of 7th chapter starts with the verse Mai asakta mana partha, that become attached to me. Krishna brings himself at the forefront of this discussion by saying Mai asakta manah partha yogam yunjam madashrayah asaushayam samagram mam yatha gyasasi tachrunu. Taking shelter of the process of hearing, which all of you are doing right now. Krishna says, develop an attachment to me. So Krishna introduces himself. Sambandha Krishna, Abhidheya Bhakti, Bhakti Yoga. Process is Bhakti Yoga. Sambandha Krishna, Krishna should be our object of worship. And प्रयोजन करना क्या है, अल्टीमेटली कृष्ण प्रेम हासिल करना है, सो दैट अल्टीमेटली वी कैन डेवलप लविंग सर्विस एटीट्यूड टुवर्ड्स कृष्णा एंड गो बैक टू कृष्णा. 8th chapter tells us how to go back to Krishna. हमने काफी बार सुना कि we should go back to Krishna, we should go to spiritual world. This is material world, that is spiritual world. Material world and spiritual world, अगर हम material world से exit नहीं कर पाएंगे तो spiritual world में entry नहीं मिल पाएगी. तो जाना कैसे है? Krishna says, introduces the concept of law of last thought. लॉ ऑफ लास्ट थॉट मीन्स जो आपका विचार है, जो आपकी मेमोरी है, रिमेम्बरेंस है, वॉट एवर यू रिमेम्बर एट द मोमेंट ऑफ योर डेथ, that consciousness you will attain at the end, in your next birth. भरत महाराज हिरण से अटैच हो गए, हिरण के बच्चे से अटैच हो गए, एंड ही लेफ्ट हिज बॉडी रिमेम्बरिंग हिरण, एंड हिरण डियर डियर करते करते वो उनको हिरण का शरीर मिला अगले जन्म में. सो दिस इज एन एग्जांपल ऑफ हाउ द लास्ट थॉट, जो लास्ट विचार हमारे मन में है, हाउ कैन दैट अफेक्ट अस. सो what is the solution? Solution is, if you can antakaale cha mam evam smaran muktva kalevaram, that if you can remember me at the moment of your death, then you will attain me. Of this there is no doubt. यम यम वापि स्मरण भावम. The general rule is, जो आपको विचार, जो आपको whatever you will remember at the moment of your death, that state you will attain. Of this also there is no doubt. So करना क्या चाहिए? तस्मात् सर्वेषु कालेषु माम अनुस्मर युध्य च. सर्वेषु कालेषु, सर्वकाल, हर हमेशा, 24/7 you should remember me and performing your, even while performing your prescribed duties, as a student, as a working professional, as a businessman, as a homemaker, as a grahastha, as a child, as a parent, as grandfather, as grandmother, whatever is our state, we should remember Krishna and do our duties, of course. So this is the lesson, very important lesson Krishna has been giving to Arjuna, and through Arjuna to all of us. In the 7th, 9th, and 10th chapter, Krishna explains how his presence can be perceived everywhere, and everything glorious and attractive, whatever we see in this world, is nothing but a small fragment of his energy. Nothing can exist without Krishna, including our own body, our physical abilities, intelligence, knowledge, remembrance, talents, mind, intelligence, everything that we possess comes from Krishna. So we should utilize everything for the service of Krishna. Then we had this Chatushloki Bhagavad Gita, the 10th, 10.8 to 10.11, followed by another four beautiful verses where Arjuna confirms his understanding of Krishna's supreme position, and whatever Krishna is speaking, as he accept it as truth and progress further. So it's important to hear, but it is more important to act on what we have heard. And that brings us to the chapter that we have today, modes of material nature. Before that, quick look at what we discussed in the 13th chapter. The acronym we used was wisest. Wise questions were asked at the beginning of that chapter. Six subjects were introduced by Arjuna, or questions were asked about those six topics of by Arjuna, and then Krishna elaborated on that. Kshetra, Kshetrajna, Jnanam, Geyam, Purusha, Prakriti. These are the six concepts Arjuna asked questions about, and Krishna explains that how there are two enjoyers. What is a kshetra? And there is how there are two enjoyers. There is a soul and there is a super soul. Super soul has a role. Upadrashta, Anumantacha, Bharta, Bhokta, Maheshwara. That whatever desires a soul expresses, super soul has to either sanction them or reject them. Based on whatever decision given by super soul, material nature will execute and things will happen in our life. So my desire to speak. A soul can have a desire. I can have a desire to speak. But if there is no sanction by Krishna as a super soul sitting in my heart, and no voice will come out of my mouth, even if I may have a desire to speak, I may know what to speak. I have a lot of time to speak. I have all the facility to speak. I have internet. I have microphone, everything. I have all the audience who is waiting to hear. But if Krishna's sanction is removed, no voice will come out of my mind, my mouth, and the speaking will not happen. Our existence and our actions, our activities in this world are completely dependent on the sanction of the Supreme Lord, who is sitting right inside our heart. So we should surrender to them, seeing accepting him to be the ultimate enjoyer. That is a summary of chapter 13, which we discussed in our previous session before we going to Vrindavan. We'll have Jaipur Yatra coming up in the month of February, towards the end of that month. All of you are welcome to join that. You should hope to join yatras. Yatra is time when we all can meet face to face, no matter where you are in India. Yatras are the times when we submerge ourselves 24 by 7 into Krishna consciousness. What we cannot do in our normal day-to-day life, we can do that during the yatra days, and that's a beautiful experience. So Jaipur will be a short yatra, maybe a 4-day yatra. All of you are requested to join as soon as we publish calendar on the groups. Please feel free to call me or ask me questions about how to book, and where to stay, and what all you need to expect as part of this yatra. So it's going to be a wonderful experience if you choose to come. The the acronym that we'll discuss today is DRAP. The It's a 27 verse. It's a smaller chapter. It's not a very big long chapter, just 27 verses. But this chapter has lot of practical application, lot to do with our day to day life. So we'll have um, lot of chatting to be done. I'll expect all of you to keep your phones ready or computer screens ready, so that you can type in answers wherever wherever we get into those slides. So the chapter 1 verses 1 to 9 talk about three modes of material nature are explained, introduced by Krishna. Race for prominence or dominance, that's discussed in chapter verses 10 to 13. Actions in the modes, because modes, will understand what those modes really are. And 14 to 18, and then pure life is how to transcend the mode. So let's begin. Let's jump right into this. So again, about 69 of you are there. My request to you all will be stay back. Don't accept phone calls. No, world is not going to collapse if you don't answer any phone call. This is going to be very critical discussion, and hence, just stay tuned, stay focused on what's coming up, and answer, participate in the group discussions wherever there will be opportunity, at least through chats, so that we know what you're learning, we know what you're progressing, how you are progressing, how you're understanding the concepts, and ask questions. That's most important, because what we'll discuss as part of three modes is nothing but reflection of our own life. They are not applicable to Arjuna and not to us. We'll soon figure out what it means, but ask questions, think of questions, how it relates to me. So the discussion, the connection between chapters 13 and 14 comes from this beautiful verse in the chapter 13. ये पुरुष प्रकृतिस्थो ही भून्ते प्रकृति जा गुणान कारण गुण संगोस्य सत असत योनि जन्मसु कारण गुण संगोस्य. Now we'll reverse. If when we discuss this verse reverse way, sad asat yoni janmasu means taking birth in higher and lower species of life. Sat asat. Sat means higher, asat means lower. Yoni are species. Manusya yoni, animal, ghost. They are all yonis, and bird, aquatics. So they are all yonis, and we can take birth in the higher and lower yonis. Janmasu, take birth. When do you take birth? Karana Guna Sangosya, because of your association with modes of material nature. Now, these gunas, this whole chapter is dedicated to this one single word, guna. And why we associate with gunas? We associate with gunas because bhunte prakriti janguna. Because we want to enjoy Prakriti. Prakriti is a female. Prakriti is a female, and Krishna is the enjoyer. The original enjoyer is Krishna, and we all are trying to become little Krishna in our own way, competitors of Krishna in our own way. When we develop a desire to enjoy material nature, so this is our this is called Bija Vakya of Bhagavad Gita. Many times people ask this question that if we were part of Krishna, we were all of us existed, were in spiritual world at some point of time, how did our existence in this material world started, where we are forced into the womb of some mother, when we discover who that is, when we come out of our womb or her womb, then we are born and given a birth in a family, good, bad, ugly, sometime poor, sometime very rich, sometime moderate. We are given a body which is sometimes good looking, sometimes bad looking, which sometimes has some talent, sometimes has no talent, just good for nothing, sometimes healthy, sometimes sick right from birth. Some people have sick body, sometimes complete, sometimes incomplete, sometimes some limbs of body are itself missing, and in that situation completely uncontrolled. If you think of it, all 69 of you can 71 of you can think about it. None of these things were in your control. You were not, you never knew whether you wanted to become a male or female, and what you have become. You had a white skin or or a black skin, or you know uh, what skin color you wanted, what eye color you wanted, and what you like and what you have got. There is a vast difference, and none of this you could have chosen. You probably would have been born in a Gujarati family, but was that your choice? You never know. You don't know. Were you always Gujarati in all your past life? Of course, no. So, this is something which is completely outside our domain, outside our control. So, we are forced to take birth because of this enjoying mentality. Enjoying mentality, we have three pictures, so four pictures. There's some people want to chase dollars, want to become rich, work day and night to become on money. Some people love to eat. This man has finished a lot of plates and he still wants to eat more and more and more and more. Some people wants to enjoy, eyes want to see beautiful form, and using all five senses, they want to enjoy, and that's why we are bound. How we are bound? Let's take another example. A monkey, they catch monkey by keeping a bottle, some grain, some foodstuff that monkey like, which is kept at the bottom of this bottle, and the bottle is left. Monkey go there and try to insert his hand inside the bottle and grab that foodstuff, whatever it is. Here it is a banana, there could be kishmish, kaju, badam, whatever it is. When he grabs a fist full of food stuff, he's unable to remove his hand from the bottle. Now his hand has got stuck, and because of his attachment to the food stuff, he has now two choices. He can either release the food stuff, remove the hand, and gain his independence, gain his freedom. But guess what he do most often? He's unable to give up attachment to that foodstuff. So he's trying to get that foodstuff out somehow, anyhow. And in his attempt to remove that foodstuff out of bottle, he get caught. And once he get caught, he becomes practically a slave for the lifetime, because then the master will catch him, will feed him something, maybe peanuts, and make him dance to his tunes. Jump karo, फिर वो jump करेगा, ये करो, वो करो, ring लेके dance करो, and he will do all that, and his master will earn money showing monkey tricks to people. Now, monkey has lost his freedom. Why? Because he couldn't give up his attachment to that small foodstuff. Similarly, we have our own attachments, and which actually binds us, which which becomes the reason why we get bound in the material world, and then we get caught. We get caught, and we keep roaming around in the different species of life. Bhumte. It's a desire to enjoy or enjoying mentality. Now, this is, as I said, is the root cause of all our problems. Our existence in this material world is because of this one single word, ru- bhunte. For enjoying, we must accept different bodies. कैसे enjoy करेंगे? If we want to enjoy a female body, we must accept male body. So we have to have a body, and the body लेके हम we try to enjoy using our senses. Shabda, the eyes, the with eyes we want to see beautiful forms. If we can't see beautiful forms, we turn to mobile. We turn to mobile. The pornography has become so famous. That's because of this. Now eyes want to enjoy. Ear want to hear sweet words, sweet music, sometimes rock music, which agitate our mind, and tongue want to taste all kind of food stuff that's manufactured on the street, on the hotels, and the whatever we think of eatable is. Now all of those actions give rise to reactions. Now all where as long as we are acting on our own accord, just like a soldier, as long as soldier is performing his duty at the border, his actions are owned by the government. He's not responsible for the killing on the border. When he kill an enemy soldier, he may actually get rewarded for that. But when the same soldier comes back home and fights with a neighbor and he kills a neighbor, he becomes responsible for his actions. Similarly, when we are acting on our own accord, we are responsible. We get reactions of our actions, and as long as we have reactions, we are forced into a new body to enjoy or the suffer the reactions, those reactions. Sattva guna, rajoguna, tamoguna, the goodness, passion, and ignorance. So in this chapter, Krishna will explain that those in material nature, how they work and how they are bound by the modes of material nature. Let's understand about a little bit more about these modes of material nature in detail. Ignorance. Let's start with ignorance. Ignorance is very prominent. Now, this man you can see is worried, look concerned, look completely distressed, look in depression. Why? Because the curve, the line that you can see on the chart is going down. Probably the company is making losses. Company, his all his investments are making losses, or whatever could be the reason, but he's extremely depressed man. So what are the symptoms of tamoguna or a mode of ignorance? Type type Y in the chat if you can associate or relate with any of these words. I'll just read out those words. These are the symptoms that we are in tamoguna. Depression, sadness. Take to your chat box, start typing Y if it relates with you, no if it does not. Don't have to comment on every word, but in general, if it relates, you find relevance with this, then we understand that we are in tamoguna. As long as we had these feelings, and the longer these feelings are there, 24 में से अगर हम 10 घंटे ये फीलिंग्स एक्सपीरियंस करते हैं, देन वी आर इन serious tamoguna. We are in serious state of mental imbalance. So jump to so start typing Y if you can relate with these words. If you are experiencing any one of these symptoms, so depression, sadness, moroseness, feeling insecure, feeling confused, feeling bewildered, feeling lonely, feel like crying, पैनिक होता है, पैनिकिंग होता है, पैनिकिंग सिचुएशन, गेट सुसाइडल थॉट्स, feeling insecure when someone else succeeds and we fail, or sometimes we don't get as we feel very insecure and very bad when we don't get results as per our expectation. What we expect when we don't get that, we feel very insecure and we feel very frustrated. Addiction to sleeping pills, painkillers, too much indulgence in television, social media, and sports. Why? Because temporarily we transport ourselves into a different life. We are so frustrated with our own life, our own problems of our life, that we want to transport ourselves to a different reality. The sports is that kind of a reality where you forget who you are and start experiencing the joy and sorrows of some other world that some teams are playing, and you're identifying with one team and enjoying or suffering because of that team's success or failure. Watching TV or watching movies, is another way of forgetting our temporary miserable state. Our current reality could be so bad that we don't want to be here. So where we can go, we can transport ourselves through a television into a web series. So watch all seasons. एक सीजन में 15-16 एपिसोड से सब कुछ देख लो नॉन स्टॉप. Watch all TV. Watch TV for 12 hours. Watch movies for 12 hours. नॉन स्टॉप एक के बाद एक मूवी देखते रहो. क्यों? Because my current state is so frustrating that I don't like it. I don't want it, and there is no way I can run away from it. तो मैं क्या करता हूँ, टेम्पररी सॉल्यूशन, मैं सोशल मीडिया पे चला आता हूँ, टेलीविजन पे चला आता हूँ, आई कीप वॉचिंग मूवी, आई कीप गोइंग आउट फॉर हॉलीडेज. टू मच of this is also considered to be, so watching television or watching sport is equated with sleeping. Sleeping is when you want to forget your reality, and that is tamoguna. That is these are the symptoms of tamoguna. So which is yeah. So I'm seeing a lot of chats. Um, let's see, move forward. Tamoguna is not everything. There is one, what you can see here is there is a boss, there is an employee. Boss is yelling at his employee, and employee is trying to work. Probably not completed his report, not met his target, whatever could be the reason. Can somebody unmute and say who is suffering in this picture, the second picture? Quickly unmute and speak if you can think of any answer.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji,
Hare
Dandavat
Krishna.
Pranam.
Yes.
Prabhuji, I feel both of them are suffering.
Both of them are suffering. Yeah, do you all agree? Both of them are suffering. Yes. Uh, the employee is suffering. You don't enjoy the situation when somebody is yelling at you, and he wants, boss want him to do things, get things done. फिनिश करो, ये भी करो, वो भी करो, वो भी करो, ये क्यों नहीं किया, ये इतना लेट क्यों किया. And there is always this passion, mode of passion. People are working in the mode of passion. There's this passionate thing of running around, always constantly happening in all offices, all workplaces, all businesses. And the boss is also suffering. Many times people get heart attacks when they don't meet targets. What a reason to die, because you didn't do some sales target, you couldn't achieve some sales target, you get a heart attack and you die. What a pathetic way of life. But this is, living a miserable life inside a comfortable looking position. All of them in offices, in businesses, they all look very nice. Good looking people, cleanly shaven, wear nice jackets, blazers, wear ties, wear good quality clothes, eat all kind of nice food stuff they eat. All kind of salad bars are working because of them, and they will all sit in AC offices. Not a sweat, not a drop of sweat will come out of their body, because they spend 12 and 16, 14 hours inside air conditioned offices. So now they looking externally, they are actually looking very very great, but internally they are pathetic, they're extremely miserable. So this is mode of passion for all of us. Aggressiveness, lust, greed, over ambition, competitive drive, being very pushy, bossing mentality, trishna, thirst for what? Thirst for trishna, for position, boast, honor, respect, self-importance, attachment to the opposite sex. These are all symptoms of mode of passion. Somebody is in the mode of passion. Mode of goodness, mild-natured person, cheerful, joyful, friendly, encouraging, calm, pious, godly. They're inclined towards understanding philosophy, poetry, art, and they indulge in all these things. They are knowledgeable. They are able to practice austerity. They're able to practice spirituality much better than anybody else. The knowledge, they are recognized by knowledge and happiness. A sattvic person will be knowledgeable and he will be happy. He will be self-satisfied. He can be satisfied with whatever he may have. He may not have everything, but he can learn. He has developed a santosh is a quality that he has developed. Santosh means it's not that when I have $1 billion in my bank account, I will have santosh. Santosh, you can be happy in having 10,000 rupees in your bank account. So it's a quality that we have to all develop. So these sattvic people are experience happiness, experience a joy, and experience contentment. They're not, it's not that they have no target to achieve. It's not that they don't have desires. It's not that they don't want to become rich. It's not, doesn't mean that they are all poor, but it doesn't mean that anybody and everybody can become happy can when they become sattvic, when they develop sattva guna within themselves. So with knowledge, but however, this is not a static position. You may be in sattva guna for time being, you may feel happy, and when you will find others in the miserable state, you may become complacent, and complacency is called tamoguna. So from sattva guna you can you can drop to tamoguna very quickly. Many pious people with knowledge, sometimes we become proud. I have knowledge about soul, I have knowledge about atma, I have knowledge about previous life, current life, next life, ये कैसे ऑपरेट होता है मुझे सब पता है, मैंने भगवत गीता पढ़ा है. So with knowledge can come pride, and that pride is also rajoguna. So sattva guna is not a static position, it's a dynamic position. You can switch into other gunas very quickly if you are not cautious. Many pious people are actually in sattva guna, but they don't accept Krishna consciousness. Why? Because you actually don't feel the need to accept presence of God. At times it becomes very difficult to preach to people who are in sattva guna. वो बोलेगा कि मैं सब कुछ तो कर रहा हूँ, मैं किसी का बुरा नहीं चाहता, मैं किसी को हर्ट करने की कोशिश नहीं करता, then I try to be vegetarian, I don't kill animals, and I try to be as honest as I can. I try to be as helpful as I can to other people. But and so ये सब सारे गुण हैं, तो मुझे और कुछ करने की जरूरत नहीं है. Lot of people live their life, try to live their life with this kind of a philosophy. So they don't accept God in their life, and at times it can be very difficult to preach to the Sattva person, because they're like those people who are driving car nicely. They know how to drive efficiently their car. They are following all the rules also. Wherever there is a red light, they are stopping. Wherever there is, they are not cutting lanes. They are not unnecessarily overtaking people. They're driving very nicely. But driving nicely is only a half solution. The other half is you should know the destination. If you don't know destination, if you keep driving, you will reach nowhere. You will reach, what is the use of such driving nicely when you don't know the destination? So these people are unable to get destination because they forget God, they reject God. At times it can be very difficult to preach to a sattva person. Let's start with the first verse. Where Krishna saying that param bhuyah pravakshami jnananam jnanamuttamam yad gyatva muneyah sarve param siddham mato gataha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, again, I shall declare to you the supreme wisdom, the best of all knowledge, knowing which all the sages have attained to supreme perfection. In the in the purport, Prabhupada is explaining that this chapter, Krishna is introducing the three modes of material nature. Now, in this chapter, the Supreme Personality will explain what those modes of nature are, how they act, how they bind, and how they give liberation. So, this is the subject matter of discussion in this particular chapter. Let's move further. इदं ज्ञानमुपाश्रित्य मम साधर्म्यमागताः सर्गेऽपि नोपजायन्ते प्रलयेन व्यथन्ति च. Just hold on. Um, yes. By becoming fixed in this knowledge, one can attain to the transcendental nature like my own. Krishna is giving benediction कि ये knowledge का फायदा क्या है जो आप आज सीखने वाले हो. All 70 of you, 70, 71 of you, what are trying to learn, what is the benefit of it? You can attain nature like my own. Thus establish one is not born at the time of creation or disturbed at the time of dissolution. Pralaya is a dissolution or sarge is creation. So creation or destruction में अगर आप disturb नहीं होगे, creation and destruction will not affect you. When that can happen, when you go beyond the material world, when you go to the spiritual world, then whatever happens in the material world really doesn't affect you. So that is what Krishna is explaining, that your consciousness, you yourself can be raised, can be transported to spiritual world simply by knowing this knowledge. That is the importance of acquiring this knowledge. After Prabhupada writes in the purport, after acquiring perfect transcendental knowledge, one acquires qualitative equality with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, becoming free from repetition of birth and death. One does not, however, lose his identity as individual soul. Prabhupada writes very important thing that it is understood from Vedic literature that the liberated souls who have reached the transcendental planets of the spiritual sky always look to the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, being engaged in his transcendental loving service. So, even after liberation, the devotees do not lose their individual identities. They will not become God. What it's Prabhupada is trying to say is there are philosophies in the world, the impersonalism, actually preaches that there is no difference in you and God. So you will become God eventually. So I becoming God, um, you know, is the worst nightmare, worst kind of illusion that one may have. Krishna is completely refuting that that position, that even if somebody might be propagating this kind of a philosophy, it is utter nonsense, is what Krishna is saying. Natve vaham jati nasam natvam neme janadipaha, which means all these people will continue to exist always in future eternally. Mame vansha jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatanaha. All the living entities are my separated part and particles, and they will continue to remain separate part and particle sanatanaha eternally. So there are schools of thought, there are schools of philosophies which are teaching impersonalism because they say that you will become God. So there is no need. The God is impersonal and you will become God. When eventually you will yourself will become God. You are God. That is a worst kind of philosophy that one can have. And moghasha mogha karmano, all the endeavors, Krishna has confirmed in the ninth chapter that all such endeavors are wasted, or they achieve nothing. They doesn't become successful at all because it is a false philosophy. This is Krishna is establishing a real philosophy and negating false philosophy explicitly so that there is no confusion. Third verse, mama yonir mama yonir mahad brahma tasmin garbham dadamyaham sambhavah sarvabhutanam tato bhavati bharata. They're very important. Now we there are questions scientists are always trying to contemplate upon ki how did this whole material nature was created. And Krishna has spoken in this Bhagavad Gita itself, which we have heard many times in the 8th chapter, 9th chapter, that I have created, I have created. Now Krishna gives a little bit more insight into how he has created. He's saying the total material substance called Brahman is the source of birth, and it is that Brahman that I impregnate, making possible the birth of all the living beings, O son of Bharata. Next verse, Krishna says, Sarva yonishu konteya murtayah sambhavantiyaha tasam brahma mahad yonir aham bija pratapitaha. Aham bija pratapitaha sarva yonishu konteya. So we all know कि there are many yonis, that all the living entities, vriksha yoni. There are there could be, you know, lakhs and lakhs of types of vrikshas, or trees, plant, herbs that are there. All of those are living entities inside a body of a tree, and they are not different. Those living entities, the soul is not different than what we are. Our soul is, we are in human body, they are in tree body, and some souls are in fish body, some souls are in a animal body, a tiger body, monkey body, chicken body, goat body, fish body. So there are souls all these bodies, and Krishna says, I am seed giving father of all the living entities, all the species of life. So Krishna, we hear multiple times, we have heard this, how the creation takes place. There is no bang that happens to disappoint all those who love science. Krishna creates the existence. He creates the 24 elements from the pores of bodily pores of Mahavishnu. Bodily pores of Mahavishnu. Millions of universes comes out when he breathes out, and he enters into each of those universes. They are round in shape, therefore they are called Anda. And the Garbhodakshayi Vishnu enters into each of those universes. He lies down there on the Ananta Shesh. Lakshmi ji is there, and from his navel of his body, a lotus sprouts. A lotus comes out, and on the top of that lotus, Brahmaji appears. Brahmaji then start creating different types of bodies based on different desires that people have. Brahmaji becomes the first living entity in every universe, and he begins the process of creation. And the creation happens, Krishna sent all the jivas in that universe by glancing. His glance is called Shambhu then enters his glance, which is Shambhu, which is Shivji, interacts with Prakriti, which is Durga, and the combination of these two, the living entities get pregnated, and the Prakriti gets pregnated with the living entities. Eventually, bodies are supplied by Brahmaji, and accordingly, every living entity come into existence simultaneously. Not that we were monkeys before and become humans now. Monkeys and humans coexisted simultaneously. Dinosaurs, fishes, aquatics, birds, animals, humans, everyone got created simultaneously. This is under, or this is the egg of one universe, where there are seven lokas behind. The Bhuloka is in the center, and six lokas on the top, up to the Satya Loka, which is abode of Brahmaji. And this is the domain of material world. Above that is the spiritual world. So then, um, that's how the universe looks like. Durga Devi is Durga Devi is the superintendent of this universe. All the lokas are under her. So we can't please her by dancing in Garba on the Bollywood songs. She doesn't become happy. Rather, if you dance in Kirtan, she will consider that to be a better activity than keeping fast and dancing on the Garba tunes and whatever you can do otherwise to please her. नारियल तोड़ना, बकरा काटना, all this nonsense will not make her happy. Become devotee of Krishna, that will make her happy. So no, stop. If you're doing any of those things, activities for pleasing Durga, please don't do it. Rather rather become devotee of Krishna, and chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, follow for regulatory principle, and become nice servant of Krishna, nice devotee of Krishna, that will make her happy. Prabhupada writes in the purport of this verse that this is an explanation of the world. Everything that takes place is due to the combination of Kshetra and Kshetrajna, the body and the spirit, spirit and matter, basically. The spirit, soul, body and the spirit soul. The all of us are combination of body and of spirit and matter. So there is matter which is supplied by Prakriti, and spirit is making this matter move. So that is who we are, and once we understand that, then only we can progress in spiritual path, on spiritual path. But because then we can identify ourselves different than our body. That's the fundamental knowledge. Prabhupada writes further that the Supreme Personality impregnates that total substance and does innumerable universes comes possible. A scorpion lay its egg in the pile of rice. Prabhupada gave example of a scorpion. Prabhupada says that you see, scorpion is not born out of rice, but his eggs are given in the rice, and because those eggs are not visible, actually one may feel that scorpion is born from rice bag. So gives an example. Actually, the eggs were laid by the mother. Similarly, material nature is not the cause of birth of the living entities. The seed is given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and they only seem to come out as product of material nature. Thus, every living entity, according to his past activities, has a different body created by this material nature, so that the entity can enjoy or suffer according to his past deeds. The Lord is the cause of all the manifestations of the living entities in this material world. I'll read again the last paragraph. You all can pay attention again. Thus, every living entity, according to his past activities, has a different body created by this material nature, so that the entity can enjoy or suffer according to his past deeds. The Lord is the cause of all the manifestations of living entities in this material world. A very categorical statement that who we are, why we are, and how why we are suffering. Krishna is the reason for that. Now, Krishna is the ultimate cause. Our immediate cause are our past deeds. Whatever we have indulged into our past actions, according to his past deeds. Body is created so that we have to suffer or enjoy according to our past karma. So that is reality. Accepting this reality, we can work towards becoming a nice devotee, but it's worth understanding this. The bija, the seed is that the seed and the potency of progeny in the seed also comes from Krishna. So that's why you may have so the life comes from life, and ultimately it comes from Krishna. So that and we see that humans can have potentially become animal, and animal, when they go through the evolution cycle, can actually become human. As you can see here, Durga Devi is the superintendent controller of this whole material world, and Krishna is her boss. Krishna is her supervisor. Maya adhyakshena prakriti suyate se machara. Another beautiful verse. Now we'll see three verses where Krishna introduces these gunas, and we will look at in an analytical way what those gunas means and how they interact. Sattvam, rajas, tamas, tama iti gunaha prakritim sambhavaha guna gunaha prakriti sambhavaha nibandhanti mahabaho dehe dehinam avyayam. Nibandhanti is binding. The word bind, we say that we are bound somehow. We'll discuss about that a little bit more. Now, sattva, rajas, tama iti. Material nature consists of three modes: goodness, passion, and ignorance. When the eternal living entity comes in contact with nature, O mighty Am Arjuna, he becomes conditioned by these modes. when the living entity come in contact with the nature, when he interact with the nature, so when when we interact with the nature, bhunte prakriti jaguna, when we have a desire to enjoy nature, that time, we come under the influence of gunas, which means as long as we don't have desire to enjoy material world, we can remain out of domain of these gunas, out of scope for these gunas. That's also possible. We'll figure out how that can be done later, but let's understand further. Let's understand in little bit more detail what these gunas are and how they are binding us. Now, gunas is like a bulb. Bulb is originally giving a white light. If we cover that bulb with a blue paper, the bulb will start giving blue light. If we cover it with black paper, it will give us black light, or a yellow paper, it will give yellow light. So whichever color paper we cover this bulb with, that light we will get. So it's not. So if we remove all the cover, then bulb is now able to give a pure light. So similarly, when we are able to overcome these modes of material nature, sattva guna, rajoguna, and tamoguna, all three are binding. And they're binding. If you can see in the picture, let's focus on the picture a little bit. As you can see, these gunas are binding. When we say they are binding, they're not completely shackling a person that he cannot move at all. Now, if you see these strings, the strings which are attached to our hands and our legs and our body, they are kind of invisible. Now, the strings allow us to make some movement, which makes us feel that we have some freedom. But in reality, we have no freedom. So we are bound by the gunas, and that's how we have to become free from this bondage. So let's find out more. By becoming a devotee, we can become free from the influence of the modes, and then we can soul can be engaged in the spiritual activities of pure devotional service. Let's think of our home, our office, and something in between. The road that we travel, uh, we probably take out a car and travel from this point to this point and go to office, work. In the evening, we return back to our home. In between, there is a bar. In between my home and my office is the bar. There are two employees who live in this same complex. Employee A and employee B. Now both of them travel from this building to this office, work here and return. If one of them is alcoholic and the second one is non-alcoholic, has never tested alcohol, can you let me know who will get impacted by the presence of this picture in between, which is a bar? So the question is, both employees A and B are traveling from home to office, and yeah, Vikas Ruji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji. The person who is actually inclined towards having liquor, he will be inclined to have interaction with this bar. The another one will be always crossing it as usual, as
The
like
another
another
one,
kind of shop.
yeah, for them, he may not even notice that there's a bar. The one who is a non-alcoholic or has got nothing to do with it, him- but for the alcoholic person, he for every time he will cross that shop, he will have a desire to go there and have it, and maybe not now, maybe later, maybe now, maybe later, and he will always be in dual mind कि जाए कि नहीं जाए, जाए कि नहीं जाए, ऑफिस तो नहीं जा सकते, मे बी रिटर्न आते वक्त करेंगे, वंस इन अ मंथ करेंगे, वंस इन अ वीक पार्टी करेंगे, whatever could be his plans, but he will always be affected by the presence of this shop. But while the other person who is a non-alcoholic, for him, he may not even bother. He may not even realize that there is a such shop which sell alcohol. So this is this is happens because of the gunas, and our gunas are the come from our past indulgences. Let's take another example. Some gets angry and start punching other people around, hurting themselves, eventually hurting themselves. When you get angry and get drunk and forget the cause of their anger. Some may get angry but doesn't respond in haste. Try to go deeper into the issue, learn more about what could be the root cause, and try to deal with the same. Who is in which guna? Para 1. Which guna? Para 1 is in which guna? Very quickly.
Passion.
Tamoguna Prabhuji. Tamoguna Prabhuji.
Tamogun.
Tamo and
Tamogun can be the
Para
second one.
Rajoguna.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
the
why I
second is
explained all the
Tamo.
three. Yeah, the one who is action oriented, passionate, will be first para. Second para can be Tamo.
Rajoguna.
Third gun,
And
third
Sattva
para can be Sattva gun. He's more reflective, more thinking, thoughtful. Another example, Baiju Prabhuji, you can try this one. One may look at a beautiful scene while traveling in the bus. You see outside, see a beautiful lush green ground and a nice tree. Seems to be a very nice weather, not very hot, not very cold. A breeze is going and perfect scene, like a Switzerland kind of a scene, lush green landscape that you can see. Beautiful trees are there, nice rivers is there. So seeing this, you remember a, latest movie that you had seen, and where the couple was dancing, and this is what you are remembering. Which guna you are in, most likely?
Boss, Rajoguna Prabhuji, I think.
Haribol.
Haribol
Next
Prabhuji.
example, one who think one is trying to read a book and not able to read because of the bumpy bus ride. But look at the same scene outside. Lush green landscape, beautiful breeze, nice weather, nice tree, river going flowing by. And he think, oh, वहां जाके ये बुक पढ़ने में कितना मजा आता। शांति से मैं बुक पढ़ पाता, शांति से बैठ के लाई डाउन करके या बैठ के आई कुड रीड, आई कुड रिफ्लेक्ट, कॉन्टेम्पलेट, कितना अच्छा होता। ये बस में बैठने से अच्छा वहां जाके बैठ जाता तो कितना अच्छा होता। विच मोड ही इज लाइकली टू बी इन?
Mode of goodness.
Mode of goodness. Very nice. And somebody is trying to sleep in the bus and he is not able to find sleep because of सीट अच्छा नहीं है, बाजू में कोई मोटा आदमी बैठा है, whatever could be the reason, and he see the same scene कि कितना मस्त लैंडस्केप है, अच्छे क्लाउड्स है, ब्रीज भी दिख रहा है, मस्त शैडो है, अच्छा सा नींद आ जाएगा। What guna he is likely to be in?
Mode of ignorance.
Mode of ignorance. So getting a idea? Yeah, tamo guna. Another, fire in the theater. Another example, fire in the theater in the movie hall. Whenever they see the fire is there, some panic and start running in all directions without any thought or proper consideration. Which guna they are likely to be in?
Tamoguna Prabhu.
Tamoguna Prabhuji. Tamogun.
Tamogun. They're likely to be in Rajogun. Because the Rajogun is thoughtless actions at times. And this is where the Tamogun and Sattvagun can be confusing. We will see that example in a moment, but they can be confusing. So these people are definitely in Rajogun. Rajogun, where people want to do action without at times even without thinking what they are doing. They do things. So their stampede is caused by Rajoguna. Predominant Rajoguna in people where everyone wants to get out of theater at the same time, and that cause stampede. And fire से जितने नहीं मरते उतने ज्यादा stampede से मर जाते हैं लोग। Some may pause, same theater, some people may pause to assess the situation, may run in a direction to get a firefighting equipment and then run towards the exit door in a systematic manner. Now, this could be which guna they're likely to be?
Sattva-guna.
Goodness.
Goodness, sattva guna. And some gets frozen and then start running where the majority of the people are going.
Tamo.
This is tamoguna.
Ignorance.
Ignorance.
Tamoguna.
Yeah. So if you see, there is a pause and a frozen. The sattvic person may pause a while, and a tamasic person may get frozen a while for a while. Now both are not acting immediately, but sattvic person is thinking, can he do something in this situation? Can he find a firefighting equipment? Can he, move to the exit in a systematic way? He's thinking. But
Constructive
tamoguni
thought
person
process.
constructively, yes, he's thinking constructively to do something more constructive way rather than react, respond to a situation. Now this is where his pause is invested in thinking of these activities, whereas a tamoguni person is thinking because he doesn't know what to do, and then he does what he see majority of the people are doing, and he adds to the problem. The problem is created by the panic is created by the rajoguni people, and it's worsened by the tamoguni people because they will go and add to that gang. So this is just to understand what these tamogunas and rajoguna, satoguna are. If you go to a room full of people like this, they're all sleeping, and after a big meal probably, and you want to study because you have exam tomorrow. None of them have. They are all your friends, I assume. Will you be able to sleep, or will you be able to study in this room?
Sleep.
Sleep.
You will all go to sleep. Even if you don't want, you will actually go to sleep because
The
everyone
energy of
around
the
us
room
is
affects.
affects. Yes, our association affects. If you want to study, you need to find a place where everybody is awake at least so that you can concentrate on your study. If you go to that room and try and study hard, in all probability, you will actually fall asleep. So the modes affect, and this is how we act in different modes. Let's understand this a little bit more in detail. The sixth test says that, O sinless one, the mode of goodness being purer than the other is illuminating, and it free one from all sinful reactions. Those situated in that mode become conditioned by a sense of happiness and knowledge. Seventh text, the mode of passion is born out of unlimited desires and longings. Trishna, the word used by Krishna in this verse is Trishna. Trishna is thirst. Thirst is like unquenching thirst, जो कभी satisfy ना हो ऐसी thirst. Now that can be for desires and longing, unlimited desires and unlimited longings, and such person are in the mode of passion. O son of Kunti, and because of this, the embodied living entity is bound to the material world by fruitive actions. So they are action-oriented people. They just want to work from morning 4 to evening 11 p.m. They don't even eat. They don't even want to enjoy. They don't even want to take a break. And the day they will not work, they will feel that they are doing mistake by not working. So they work is the predominantly driven by passion, the work. The eighth, the son of Bharata, know that the mode of darkness born of ignorance is the delusion of the embodied living entities. The result of this mode are madness, indolence, and sleep, which bind the conditioned soul. Madness, indolence, and sleep, which bind the conditioned soul. So laziness, madness, and sleep, these are the characteristic of a person who wants to be in a tamoguna all the time. So just in a tabular manner, purer sattva pure than the purest, purer than the other is better. But so there is a categorization. तमोगुण से better है रजोगुण, रजोगुण से better है सत्वगुण. So अगर आप सुबह में जपा कर रहे हो, you have joined the japa session and you are feeling sleepy. So when you wake up early in the morning with a desire to do japa, you are in sattva. But when you start feeling sleepy and fall asleep while doing japa, you straight jump from sattva to tamoguna because sleeping is tamoguna. So what you can do to save yourself from degrading to tamoguna, you go to rajoguna. What you can do, you can walk. While doing japa, if you fall asleep, if rather than better than falling asleep is to walk and do japa. which is better than falling asleep definitely, and little worse than sitting at in one lotus posture and doing japa with full concentration. बहुत ideal नहीं है walking japa, but it is better than sleeping, falling asleep while doing japa. So one can protect oneself from falling to the lower mode by going in an intermediary mode. So tamaguna is worst, rajoguna is better than tamoguna, better than sleeping and lazy, becoming lazy bum. It is better to be engaged in some work. At least we can be some use to the society. At least we can then make use of whatever qualities that we have. सोने से तो कुछ नहीं होगा, मैडनेस और पागल बनने से तो कुछ नहीं होगा. So that is better than rajoguna is better than tamoguna, and better than tamoguna is satvaguna. So satvaguna, the example is that of brahmanas are in satvaguna. Scientists, philosophers, businessmen, they are considered to be in rajoguna, and tamoguna are rest of them. Those who want to just sleep, eat, watch TV, do nothing, become fat, become lazy, and that eat meat, eat alcohol, drink alcohol, kill people. They generally depressed, morose, have all the kind of negative thoughts going through their mind. So those are tamoguni people. That's the categorization. Sattva-guni person become conditioned by happiness and knowledge. The happiness and knowledge, which are generally considered to be good, but they are the binding factor for a sattva-guni person. A rajoguni person is bound by actions. Their actions bind him. Tamoguni person is bound by madness, indolence, sleep, which bind the conditioned soul. How a Sattva-guni person, what value a Sattva-guni person? If you are in Sattva-guna, you will value good character, knowledge, realization, sense control, mind control, satisfaction, freedom from sinful actions, etc. So if you are doing all of this, and if you are yourself in Sattva-guna, you will value these things. A Rajoguni person, on the other hand, will value all endeavors to improve the quality and quantity of eating, mating, sleeping, defending. Their focus is how I can increase the quantity of and quality of all these four things. How I can become more rich. How I can eat in a superior restaurant. फाइन डाइनिंग में जाके मैं कैसे कब खाऊं? अगर मैं 4 स्टार में खाता हूं तो मैं 5 स्टार में कब खाऊंगा? अगर मेरा सेल्स 100 करोड़ है तो 200 करोड़ कब होगा? अगर मेरे पास BMW है तो मेरे पास 2 BMW कब आएंगे? And so forth. So they are constantly pushing themselves to do more and more work, and at times which is going to lead to simply improvement in quality and quantity of eating, mating, sleeping, defending, nothing more. So tamoguni person, on the other hand, what is valuable to them, if they can get a lot of food to eat and a nice air conditioned room to sleep, they consider that to be success for them. कोई आके मतलब if they are sleeping, if they don't, कोई आके उनको भगा नहीं रहा है, उठा नहीं रहा है, तो that is considered to be a satisfactory life for them. खाना और सोना. A race for dominance. Sometimes the mode of goodness become prominent, defeating the mode of passion and ignorance. O son of Bharata, sometimes mode of passion defeat goodness and ignorance, and at other times ignorance defeat goodness and passion. In this way, there is always competition for supremacy. This competition amongst 3 modes of supremacy is always going on. But if one wants, he can develop by practice the mode of goodness and thus defeat the mode of ignorance and passion. One can similarly develop mode of passion and defeat the goodness and ignorance, or one can develop mode of ignorance and defeat goodness and passion. If one is determined, he can be blessed by the mode of goodness, and by transcending the mode of goodness can be situated in pure goodness or Shuddha Sattva, which is called Vasudeva state, a state in which one can understand the science of God. So modes are not permanent. Modes are not permanent means if we are born with certain modes. Now in our life, we have certain inclinations. And those inclinations are there because of our past indulgences in our previous lives. So एक स्वभाव के साथ हम birth लेते हैं, and those स्वभाव can be modified by endeavor, by specific dedicated effort. Our स्वभाव can be changed, not immediately, not in a very short term, but over a period. If we are born, so हमें it's so we, as you all can think, everyone in the morning feel nice. If you wake up 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning, you feel very nice. The world, if you have had good 6-7 hours sleep, and if you wake up at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock, you actually feel very refreshed and very positive. That's called Brahma Murta also, and it's very suitable, ideal for doing japa, doing meditation, and spiritual activities, reading book, reading Bhagavad Gita, reading Srimad Bhagavatam, all these activities, performing nice deity worship, Abhishek, all these things can be done in the Brahma Muhurta. It's very ideal for that. So we call that हम बहुत सात्विक लगता है. We feel very sattvic at that time, especially in the morning. As the day progresses, we go to office, we travel to office, we take trains, we run for catching our train or bus, go into rush, we get into argument with people sometimes, and then somehow we reach office. Then we start working, we meet colleagues, we say hi, good morning, hello to them, and then we go to college, we catch up with our friends, and then we go attend classes or attend meetings in office, and we go through our work. Sometimes we feel good, we have achieved something, कुछ contract मिल गया, कुछ exam में अच्छे marks मिल गए, तो we feel nice. And then we feel sometimes we miss our targets, we get yelling from the boss, and some back bitching experience we have some from our colleague, and we go through the motions, and then we feel bad about it. We feel we ignore it sometimes, we feel angry about it sometimes, and various emotions. Every experience keep giving rise to different emotions inside our heart, and we carry all that, we bring it home, and then at home, we unwind ourselves to nice dinner. If you are sattvic, this is month of Kartik, so you can offer ghee lamp, again light a ghee lamp, offer it to Lord Radha Yashoda Damodar, sing Damodar Ashtakam prayers, read something from Bhagavad Gita, Krishna book or Bhagavatam, and then go to sleep. So I'm saying throughout the day, we would have had different modes. It's not so we were constantly changing modes. We are in Sattva Guna, sometimes immediately we fall asleep, we go into Tamoguna, again we come back to Rajoguna, we start walking, then we go to office, we are in Rajoguna. So it's difficult to pinpoint which mode we are in every now and then. कोई thermometer भी लगा दे तो it will be difficult, because we will be in one of these three guna and a mixture of these three gunas. So one don't have to get very worried कि हम कौन से गुना में हैं. It could be dominant. There could be one dominant guna. In the morning, early hours, it's a sattva guna is dominant, but there is a rajoguna also, because we are acting. हम अगर चल के जप कर रहे हैं तो we are in passion also. This is called mode of passion, rajoguna. And if we fall asleep immediately while doing japa, then we go to tamoguna. So in life, our gunas can change over our life, and during day, during hour, during minute also the gunas can change. So gunas are dynamic. They are dynamic and they're not static. So it's not that I'm in Sattva-guna, I will be permanently in Sattva-guna. I can be in predominantly Sattva-guna, but there will always be Rajoguna and Tamoguna. We all need sleep. Our body needs sleep, and sleep is Tamoguna. So for some part of our day, we will sleep for 6 hours, 7 hours, and that is Tamoguna. That is okay. That's not that we cannot completely avoid Tamoguna or we can completely avoid Rajoguna, because in life we have to earn money, and for that we have to go to college, we have to go to office, we have to earn money. All that, as those are all Rajasic activities. So we will have to do Rajasic activities also. We will have to do Tamasic activities also. We will have to sleep, but we can be in we can be in Sattva Guna, predominantly Sattva Guna. That is what Prabhupada is saying that. And beyond Sattva Guna is the Shuddha Sattva. Prabhupada is introducing this pure goodness, mode of pure goodness, that is Shuddha Sattva, where you do everything in Krishna-centric way. So that by doing good things also you get good results. Don't want good results also, because for good results also you'll have to take a body, you'll have to accept a body, and you'll have to come back in this material world. So Shuddha Sattva is where we perform actions for the pleasure of Krishna in Krishna-centric way, in Krishna conscious way, and that way we don't get affected by the outcomes. Sattva, Raja, Tamo. There is always a conflict for supremacy, due to which one can experience confusion and indecisiveness. So it can be reflected in one not taking important decisions such as career or marriage, etc. One may, if you're, because of this conflict of gunas, one may not be able to take right decisions. Let's take an example. We call 3 people for a Bhagavad Gita class. Saturday evening Bhagavad Gita class at 6:30 in ISKCON Juhu. Call 3 people for it. One say, I am very busy, I can't come. He's clearly in Rajoguna. He's so busy that doesn't want to come also. Doesn't want to hear the philosophy also, which is very unfortunate for him. The other 2 comes to the class, but one is attentive and one fall asleep during the class. Lecture shuru ho gaya aur ye banda so gaya. So now the 2 devotees coming for the same class seems to be in the same mode, but they are not. So modes of material nature are static. So they're expressing desire to come for a Bhagavad Gita class is a sattvic desire. But the moment if they fall asleep, they go from Sattva Guna to Tamo Guna. But one who is attentively listening, he is in Sattva Guna predominantly. So that is how the interchanging of mode keep happening all the time. At times, a higher guna can protect us from falling into the lower guna. The example is walking while chanting instead of sleeping. The 11th text, the manifestation of mode of goodness can be experienced when all the gates of body are eliminated by knowledge. O chief of Bharatas, when there is an increase in the mode of passion, the symptom of great attachment, fruitive activity, intense endeavor, and uncontrollable desire and hankering develops. When there is an increase in the mode of ignorance, O son of Kuru, darkness, inertia, madness, illusion are manifested. So I've given in by way of a table the 4 parameters and the what Shuddha Sattva means. Sattva Guna means, Rajoguna and Tamoguna means. For example, motivation. Motivation for a person who is a Shuddha Sattva, motivation for action of a person who is in Shuddha Sattva state, he want to act to make Krishna happy, to give pleasure to Krishna's senses. A person in Sattva Guna will want to act. What is his motivation for action? Is to give pleasure to our own body, senses, and work for the personal happiness. But he will want to do it in a legal way. Person in Rajoguna will want pleasure to his body and senses, and that will be common for all. Rajoguna and Tamoguna, because so the primary difference is one is acting for Krishna's pleasure, one is acting for one's own pleasure. One is cooking bhoga for offering it to Krishna, and one is cooking meal for our own enjoyment. One is working to earn money so that he can donate regularly for the Krishna consciousness preaching, and one is earning money to build one's own home, maintain one's own family, and enjoy one's own life. So the moment we bring Krishna into our endeavor, our actions, it becomes a Krishna Shuddha Sattva activity. The moment we keep ourselves at the center of action, it becomes Sattva-guni activity. It could become one of the 3 activities. We'll see further that characteristics are all kind of, in the Shuddha Sattva, all actions are performed for the pleasure of Krishna, and hence one experience unlimited happiness, satisfaction, and freedom. Sattva-guni activities are illuminating, feeling being superior in knowledge, skills, talent, sense of happiness, being free from sinful reactions. Rajoguni activity are unlimited, driven by unlimited desire for more, greed, lust, which cannot ever be satisfied, attachment um, to what one possesses. That's Rajoguna. Tamoguna, born out of ignorance, leads to deeper ignorance, madness, indolence, laziness. What is the binding force? No bondage, since work is done for the pleasure of Krishna. World does not yield fruit. There is no karmic akarma. This is called akarma. Knowledge and happiness, binding forces, material, fruitive actions, indolence, laziness, sleep. Definition of success for a person in Shuddha Sattva, they will measure their success of their life by how much attachment they have developed towards Krishna, how much they are dependent on Krishna for everything, how much they can sacrifice for Krishna. This becomes the measure for success for a person in Shuddha Sattva. Measure of success for a Sattva-guni person is good character, knowledge, realization, sense control, mind control, freedom from sinful actions, etc. Measure of success of definition of success for a Rajoguni person is again improving the quality and quantity of eating, meeting, sleeping, defending. And person in definition of success for a Tamoguni person is how to get to eat and sleep. That's how. So where this is relevant is, suppose if you are a Sattva-guni person and if your spouse is in Tamoguni person, you want to eat and sleep and do nothing. No, will you be surprised if there are conflicts? You shouldn't, right? Because you are even if you are a Sattva-guni person predominantly, and these are the things which you value. If you happen to marry a person who is in the Rajoguna, whose only focus is how I can earn more, how I can enjoy more, how I can get more, work more, there will be conflicts. So a lot of our interpersonal conflicts arise from the lack of knowledge about modes of material nature, wherein a person who cannot, a Rajoguni person just cannot be satisfied with anything. Even if he may keep a target of doubling his sales income, and when he doubles that income, he revises that target to again double that income also, he just doesn't become satisfied. There's no contentment in his life, and because of that, he's unable to think of anything other than one's own current life. This is where a Sattva-guni person becomes, he's never happy. The Tamoguni person is always sleeping, and a Rajoguni person is never happy. And Sattva-guni person becomes happy, and that happiness becomes cause of their bondage, because they think this is what it is. They just don't elevate themselves to the Shuddha Sattva at times. So this is the problem. This is the root cause of many of our problems that we interface in relationships, especially. Think of relationships that you have had conflicts with, and think of activities that you both are indulging into. If you have a fight with someone who is eating meat and you don't want to eat meat, eating meat is Tamoguni activity. Eating sattvic prasad is a Sattva-guni Shuddha Sattva activity. Eating vegetarian food is a Sattvic activity, and eating prasad is a Shuddha Sattva activity. So if you are in Shuddha Sattva, other person is in Tamoguna, there are bound to be conflicts. So it's no surprise. It's no surprise that we have difficulties in relationships, and predominantly they're driven by the different modes in which we both operate, whoever with whom you have relationship issues. So think of your relationship issue, think of which mode they must be operating in, think of which mode you are in, and see whether that is causing the conflict. We take the Western world is a place of misery. We do it as a discussion, group discussion. Don't have much time today. So we'll quickly go through what we discuss. Now, the Western world is considered to be the superior having superior facility for sense gratification. They have superior roads, they have better bridges, more aircrafts, air conditioned homes, nice weather, clean roads, better civil facilities, better parks, better crude agriculture, 24-hour electricity, big facilities, skyscraper building, lot of money, money for if one wants to enjoy. Even if you're unemployed in the United States, you are given some money by the government so that you can carry out your day-to-day needs until you get proper employment. So there are a lot of facilities for sense gratification. And despite of that, we see a lot of problems in the Western world. So we'll actually cross over 1 o'clock. We'll probably go exceed by about 10-15 minutes. So please bear with me. But this is very critical slide. So we'll just want to take you through this. We'll read through this, but you can pay attention. You can deliberate on this, and you can come back to me if you have any questions. Similarly, regarding the relationship issues, you can come back to me if you have any questions there as well. Purpose of human life is to attain Krishna and end the cycle of birth, and it cannot be achieved in the mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance. Mode of passion cause raga or attachment to what one possesses, and fear of losing it is trishna or greed to have more. So one is the raga, attachment to continue to possess what one has, attachment to the possessions, and trishna is a desire to have more, greed to have more. So when trishna is directed to opposite sex, it results into lust, and when directed towards things, it becomes hankering or greed to have more. These two will keep you unsatisfied and unhappy perpetually, no matter how much you will possess. The mode of ignorance causes madness, laziness, and makes one foolish, push one to commit even sinful actions for drawing little pleasure. So, drug addict, especially, there are instances when they have committed murders to get little money so that they can buy their dose of drug, which is, which they are for which they are hankering. So a lot of crime originate from drugs, and those who are addicted to drugs or alcohol, they can't live. They feel they will die if they don't take the next dose of drug, and therefore they can go to any extent to get that next dosage. So this will degrade one to lower and lower desires, and when one act on them goes into the deeper mode of ignorance. People in Western world are attached and attracted and attached to the superior facilities and comforts for living. It is like creating a heavenly experience on earth itself. This practically eliminates the need for God in their life, as they feel whatever they want, they can create or obtain it by their own efforts alone. This illusion becomes cause of misery when law of nature will eventually act and produce old age, disease, death, and birth, along with the three tapas, Adi Daivi Tapa, Adi Adhyatmik Tapa, and Adi Daivi Tapa. So these seven things, the Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi, आणि Adi Bhautik, Adi Adhyatmik, and Adi Bhautdevi Tapa, Kleshas, these three Kleshas and the four problems will emerge, and they will continue to bewilder people even in the Western world, living the most sophisticated lifestyle, the most good looking people, most rich looking people. Even they will get caught by misery when they will get affected by the Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi along with the three kleshas. Since people in the Western world have no impetus or desire to go back to Krishna, their chance of returning to the spiritual world becomes remote or most difficult. Meat eating, animal killing, particularly cow killing, alcohol, and other intoxication are keeping people in this part of world in the darkness or ignorance. They believe that these indulgences will bring them happiness, and when they act on their belief, they go further into ignorance. In this ignorance, they develop animalistic habits, lifestyle, and very serious mental health, relationship, and social issues. This makes their future very dark and path of returning back to Krishna almost impossible. This is the reality. This used to be the reality of the Western world. Today, this is reality even in India. In most developed cities, so-called developed cities, this is what people are grappling with. They're grappling with a huge mental health, relationship, and social issues, depression issues, loneliness issues, and lifestyle issues. So everyone is suffering. Even the more develop of city is, the more the suffering, and all of this is because they have eliminated God from their life. They just have don't understand why, how how to how to be humble. They have no desire to become humble. They have no desire to become servants of God. They have no desire to love anybody, and that is causing them the problem. You may want to go to from Navi Mumbai, the two trains start. One goes to Delhi, one goes to Chennai. If you have a desire to go to Mumbai, you will not sit in a Chennai bound train, even if it is very comfortable, even if it is air conditioned. Rather, you will go in a Delhi bound train, even if it is little uncomfortable. So, even if you're all don't have all the facilities right now, as long as you are sitting in a train which is going to Delhi, you are safe. Similarly, if we want to go back to Krishna, no matter how, what are the quality and quantity of facilities we have for sense gratification, whatever we have, we should be happy that we are at least sitting in a train which is going to Delhi, which is our ultimate destination, rather than sitting in a train which is having better facility but in going in the wrong direction completely. So that's what we should be careful of. Actions in the modes. When the one dies in the mode of goodness, he attains to the pure higher planets of great sages. Prabhupada write that one in goodness attains higher planetary system like Brahmaloka, Janaloka, and there enjoy godly happiness. The word Amalan is significant. It means free from mode of passion and ignorance. There are impurities in the material world, but the mode of goodness is purest form of existence in the material world. There are different kinds of planets for different kind of living entities. Those who die in the mode of goodness are elevated to the planets of where great sages and devotees live. When one dies in the mode of passion, he take birth among those engaged in fruitive activities. And when one dies in the mode of ignorance, he take birth in the animal kingdom. So the modes of material nature doesn't affect when we are alive. The modes in which you leave your body also affect your future birth. The result of pious action is pure and it's said to be in the mode of goodness. But action done in the mode of passion result in misery. Action performed in the mode of ignorance result in foolishness. From the mode of goodness, real knowledge develop. From the mode of passion, greed develop. And from mode of ignorance, develop foolishness, madness, and illusion. Those situated in the mode of goodness actually go upwards to the higher planets. Those in the mode of passion live on the earthly planet, and those in the mode of abominable mode of ignorance go down to the hellish worlds. Some people, Prabhupada writes in the purport, some people have impression that when the soul reaches the platform of human life, it never goes down again. That is incorrect. According to this verse, if one develops the mode of ignorance, after his death, he is degraded to an animal form of life, from where one has to again elevate himself by evolutionary process and come again to the human form of life. Therefore, those who are actually serious about human life should take to the mode of goodness and in good association transcend the modes and become situated in Krishna consciousness. This is the aim of human life. Otherwise, there is no guarantee that human life will again attain to the human status. Durlabha manusha janama satsange tarah e bhava sindhure. Tarah means swim over. E bhava sindhure. Bhava sindhu is ocean of misery. And दुर्लभ मानुष जन्म. दुर्लभ मानुष जन्म सत्संग. जन्म किस लिए यूज करना है? सत्संग के लिए. सत्संग happens in the association of devotees by reading Bhagavad Gita, by understanding Bhagavad Gita, by reading Bhagavatam, and by serving devotees, by serving Lord Krishna in this lifetime. So this is the goal of human life. This is the aim of human life. Otherwise, there is no guarantee that in your next birth you will actually get human life or you will get some other life. What we have done is the pre-existence. We're talking about, Krishna is talking about what happens to you if you give up your body in a particular mode. That if you give up your body in Sattva Guna, you go to the higher planets, you go Rajoguna, you stay where you are, and Tamoguna, you go to the lower planets. Now, the moment of death is a very important moment. Now you understand that how important that moment of death is. If you remember Krishna, we go to Krishna. If you whatever the gunas predominantly we will be in, that mode we will achieve. Unfortunately, if we happen to be in Tamoguna, we can go to the animal species. So let's understand these gunas, this movement of soul from after giving up one's body, how it is perceived by different people. So there is a pre-existence, current existence, and afterlife existence. Afterlife existence means where the soul goes after giving up one's body. So there is an atheistic explanation, there is a Christianity and Abrahamic explanation, and there is a Bhagavad Gita explanation. The first is atheistic. There's no concept of soul. The atheists believe there is no soul. The Abrahamic and Christianity believe that there are three types of soul. And we'll look at that difference, The materialistic worldview says soul doesn't exist. We are body and we only have one life. This is their theory. Whereas Abrahamic religions, Christianity and Islam, they think that soul is born when man and woman unite. From that moment onward, soul is eternal. Whereas Bhagavad Gita view says that the soul exists in all living entities along with Krishna as a super soul, and they both are related. Now, this is a very higher, far superior understanding. The soul always existent. Soul was always existent, and soul exists today, and soul will continue to exist in future also. So materialistic view doesn't believe in pre and post existence. They just believe that this is your current life. You enjoy whatever you can, and that's it. That's the goal of life. Materialistic worldview cannot explain why there is a variety in the world. If the enjoyment of bodily senses is the goal, then everybody should be given equal opportunity to enjoy and equal facility to enjoy. But person who is born without eyes has no capacity to see beautiful form. The person who has no bodily limbs missing cannot really enjoy. Person who is born with cancer or AIDS has very limited time and may not really be enjoy many pleasures in this world. So why there is a variety? That materialistic worldview, atheistic worldview cannot explain. Whereas Abrahamic worldview believes that a soul is born when a man and woman unite, and from that moment onwards, soul is exist eternal. If you accept Jesus or Allah as and practice the religion as it is explained, as it is stated, then you will go to heaven, or otherwise everybody else will go to hell. So only one lifetime, one chance. If you don't get connected, that's your problem. So this is Abrahamic worldview. Then Bhagavad Gita says that based on desire, one attains a suitable body, and as arranged by nature to best fulfill its desire. So multiple chances are given by the living entity to the living entity, and that is what we can witness. That is what we can see in the reality as well, that we existed in past, our past existence, past life memories, because of the reincarnation theories which are well established. It is very easily demonstrated that we existed in past, we exist in today, and similarly as the reincarnation happens from past to present, from present also become future. So we will continue to accept new bodies as well, as long as we are in this material world. So we get many chances, as opposed to what Christianity and Islam believe. There is only one chance. In Bhagavad Gita believes that there is multi-life journey towards Krishna, and that's what Bhagavad Gita worldview explains. Bhagavad Gita, the Abrahamic worldview, atheistic worldview, we understand that how they cannot explain variety in the world. Abrahamic worldview have about the variety, they have different views, and they many of them believe that human species don't have soul capable of attaining liberation, and process of progression regression is not included. Hence, animal killing is promoted. They believe that the animal soul is sensitive soul uh, because they can have mobility, but it is not a rational soul like humans. So they cannot animals cannot go to heaven. So that's the difference. Just wanted everybody to be aware. The last section, pure life, 19 to 27. When Krishna says that when the embodied being is able to transcend these modes associated with the material body, he can become free from birth, death, old age, and their distress, and can enjoy nectar even in this life. Prabhupada writes, these are some of the important purports that we have picked up. How can one stay in the transcendental position even in this body in full Krishna consciousness is explained in this verse. The Sanskrit word dehi means embodied. Although one is within the material body, by advancement in spiritual knowledge, he can be free from influence of the modes of nature. He can enjoy the happiness of spiritual life even in this body, because after leaving this body, he is certainly going to go to the spiritual sky. But even in this body, he can enjoy spiritual happiness. In other words, devotional service in Krishna consciousness is the sign of liberation from material entanglements. And this will be explained in the 18th chapter. When one is freed from the influence of the modes of material nature, he enters into devotional service. Mamcha yo vyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate. Sagunan samatetyani brahma bhuyaya kalpate. One who engages in full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, at once transcend the mode of material nature and does come to the level of Brahman. So the important question is how to transcend this mode, because we don't want to be in either of these gunas and we want to act in Shuddha Sattva. So this is where Prabhupada Krishna explains and Prabhupada elaborates in the purport. For 14.26 is the most important verse. One should not be disturbed by the activities of the modes of nature. Instead, by putting his consciousness into such activities, he may transfer his consciousness to Krishna activities. Krishna activities are known as Bhakti Yoga, or always acting for Krishna. So if one engages himself in the service of Krishna or his planetary expansions with unfailing determination, although these modes of material nature are very difficult to overcome, one can overcome them easily. This has already been explained in the 7th chapter. 7th chapter, Krishna says that दैवीय एषा गुणमयी मम माया दुरत्वया माम एवं ये प्रपद्यन्ते माया मेताम तरन्ति ते. अब माया से क्रॉस कर पाओगे if you surrender to me. That's the reference to the 7th chapter. To be in Krishna consciousness or in devotional service means to acquire equality with Krishna. The Lord says that his nature is eternal, blissful, and full of knowledge, and the living entities are part and parcel of the Supreme, as gold particle are part of gold mine. Thus, living entity in his spiritual position is as good as gold, as good as Krishna in quality. Difference is in quantity. We are small in quantity. Krishna is huge in quantity. So though qualitatively we may become one with Krishna, quantitatively we will always be small than Krishna. Thus, a difference of individuality continues. Otherwise, there would be no question of Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga means that there is Lord is there, the devotee is there, and then there is an activity of exchange of love between the Lord and devotee is there. That is Bhakti Yoga. Therefore, the individuality of two person is present in the Supreme Personality of Godhead and individual person. Otherwise, there is no meaning to Bhakti Yoga. To be personal assistant to a king, one must acquire the qualifications. Thus, the qualification is to become Brahman or freed from mental material contamination. The last verse, Brahmano him pratisthaya. I am the basis of the impersonal Brahman, which is immortal, imperishable, and eternal, and is the constitutional position of the ultimate happiness. Prabhupada writes in the purport that constitutional Brahman, the constitution of Brahman is immortality, imperishability, and eternity and happiness. Brahman is the beginning of transcendental realization. Paramatma, the super soul, is the middle. Paramatma, the super soul, is the middle, the second stage of transcendental realization, and the supreme personality of Godhead is the ultimate realization of the absolute truth. So, the Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan, the the absolute truth, the God can be realized in these three stages. And it's just like we discussed this in by way of an example of a halwa cooked in our home. Of the fragrance of suji getting roasted on ghee, that is like Brahman realization that there is something like halwa is coming into being. And when you get a sight like this, you see it in the picture. That's also, so there is a, when we go to the kitchen and see halwa face to face or by our own eyes, there is a fragrance and there is a sight. So there is an advancement. So it's like Brahman Paramatma. And then when you take a spoonful of halwa, put it into your mouth and relish it, relish the taste. So that is complete realization. That is Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. When you, that's a personal realization of Bhagavan. Fragrance is, suji halwa is like Brahman, sight, color is like Paramatma, and tasting halwa is complete realization. That is equivalent of Bhagavan. So this is how we understand that Krishna exists, Bhagavan exists at three level. So to summarize, the modes of material nature exist. We must understand them. Whatever we are, whatever predominant mode we have, let's accept them. Let's understand them. And then, because they are not static, they are dynamic, let's try to improve on whatever we possess. Whatever we are born is because of our previous indulgences in current life as well as in previous life. And what we can become by becoming a devotee, by performing actions in Krishna consciousness, or by doing japa, by reading Bhagavad Gita, by eating prasad, and by visiting Vrindavan Dham, by meeting devotees, by serving mission of Krishna, we can transcend these modes. We can go beyond these modes. We can go to Shuddha Sattva, where there is no reaction to whatever activities we can do. All kind of activities, but we will not get any reactions for that activities, and that is what Krishna guarantees. Gyani, as long as there are long and short-term effects of modes which we must deal with. In the short term, there will be effect. If you are in the mode of passion, you cannot suddenly become Sattva-guni person very immediately. You can, but that may not happen. So you should not be disappointed. You should use your mode of passion in the service of Krishna. If you are a Sattva-guni person, you should use your qualities in Sattva-guna for the service of Krishna. And eventually you both should try to become a Shuddha Sattva person, so that we can become dear to Krishna and go back to Krishna at the end of our life. So facility for hearing and chanting. We encourage all of you to join japa session every day and reading session every evening. We will break, see if we have any questions. I know we spoke a lot. We are 10 minutes past 1 o'clock. So we probably, it's a little too much to digest. And at times, we may need some time to think through our questions. That's perfectly all right. I'll be sharing this recording of this session as well as the slides that we discuss. And I'll be happy to receive any more questions, any questions from anyone, or comments or suggestions that anyone might have. We'll be happy to receive those, not now, even if now as well as later. So whatever you may want to share, you can share that later. So we'll see if there are any questions, or else we'll conclude today's session.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, धन्यवाद धन्यवाद।
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
प्रभु जी, क्या तमोगुणी मतलब तमोगुणी पर्सन ऐसा वो भक्ति कर सकता है कि वो कर ही नहीं पाएगा, कैसा ही?
So Mataji, the desire to be in desire, हमारा जो desire है भक्ति करने का, that itself is indicative of the fact that we are not in complete तमोगुण. तमोगुणी होना इज नॉट कंप्लीट डार्कनेस। जैसे मैंने बताया ना कि हम जब रात को सोते हैं, मान लो 11 बजे सो गए, 6 बजे उठ गए, तो ड्यूरिंग दैट टाइम वी आर इन तमोगुण। ऑल ऑफ अस आर सपोज टू डू दैट, अदरवाइज हमारी बॉडी मेंटेन कैसे होगी? तो तमोगुण is also useful in some sense. However, if one is completely in तमोगुण, one जो 12 घंटे सो रहा है, जो सिर्फ खा रहा है, जो लेजी है, मीट ईटिंग कर रहा है, अल्कोहलिज्म में है, एंड ऑल काइंड ऑफ थिंग्स आर देयर, वेयर डिग्रेडेड लाइफस्टाइल जी रहा है, फीलिंग डिप्रेस, फीलिंग मोरोज, ऑल दो सिम्टम्स दैट वी डिस्कस, वो सब वो डेमोन्स्ट्रेट हो रहे हैं। टू मच डिपेंडेंस ऑन स्लीपिंग पिल्स, पेन किलर्स लेते रहते हैं, हर चीज पे दवा खानी पड़ती है। अगर ये सिम्टम्स भी है हमारे, तो भी whatever what Krishna has spoken is he's saying that whatever we are, let's accept where we are and move towards Krishna. So that is possible for everyone. तो ऐसा नहीं कि हमारे होपलेस सिचुएशन है कि बस तमोगुणी हो तो बस पड़े रहो तमोगुण में। नो, दैट्स नॉट द केस। दैट अदरवाइज कृष्णा ने, भगवान ने ये तो बताने की जरूरत ही नहीं थी। भगवत गीता में ये चैप्टर बताने की जरूरत ही नहीं थी कि आप अगर तमोगुण में हो तो आप भक्त कभी भी बन नहीं सकते। ऐसा नहीं है। भगवान सभी को भगवान भगवत धाम ले जाना चाहते हैं। जब प्रभुपाद जी यूएस में गए थे, तभी उन्होंने एक कविता लिखी थी कि अमेरिका ने भागवत धर्म, कि मैं भगवत धर्म अमेरिका को कैसे सिखाऊंगा। वो क्या, उनका एक प्रॉब्लम था कि बोल रहे कि यहाँ पे तो सारे लोग लिप्त है। लिप्त किससे है? तमोगुण और रजोगुण से लिप्त है। तो उनको वो सत्वगुण भी नहीं जानते। तो उनको मैं भगवत धर्म की शिक्षा कैसे दूंगा? उनको मैं ये कैसे बताऊंगा कि आपको सुबह जल्दी उठना है और जप करना है, आपको कृष्ण कथा में रुचि बढ़ानी है। हाउ विल आई टेल देम एंड हाउ विल दे अंडरस्टैंड इट? क्योंकि बिकॉज ऑफ दिस मूड्स। सो इस तरह से प्रभुपाद जी की भी वही शक्ति थी। बट प्रभुपाद जी हैड डिपेंडेंस ऑन कृष्णा। ही सेज, ओ लॉर्ड, अगर आपने मुझे जिंदा अमेरिका में लाया है तो शायद आपका कोई प्लान है। सो जो आपको करवाना है आप मुझसे करवा सकते हो। मैं आपके हाथ की कठपुतली हूँ, मात्र कठपुतली हो। आप मुझे जैसे नचाना है नचा लो, आप जो बोलेंगे वो मैं करूंगा। और सक्सेस आपकी, फेलियर हुआ वो मेरा। इस तरह से प्रभुपाद जी का मूड था। सो प्रभुपाद जी कन्वर्टेड एवरीवन, whoever in whatever state he found, जो उनको भक्त मिले थे। श्याम सुंदर प्रभु जी फॉर एग्जाम्पल, he used to be a alcoholic, he used to be a druggist, drug addict, and so ऐसे सारे ही भक्त उनके, मुकुंद प्रभु who was arrested for possession and selling drugs, so ये इस तरह के उनको शिष्य मिले थे। ड्रग्स मतलब नॉट ड्रग्स, ड्रग्स मतलब काफी भयंकर क्वांटिटी ऑफ ड्रग्स, एंड सो ऑल ऑफ दोज बिकम सन्यासीज टुडे। मुकुंद मुकुंद प्रभु is sannyasi, leading sannyasi in Australia, living in Australia. Sham Sundar Prabhuji became pure devotee. So Vaishnava. So we see all of them getting transformed in one lifetime, in very short time. अगर आप भक्ति में मन लगाएंगे, भक्ति करेंगे, भक्तों के संग में रहेंगे और भक्ति करेंगे, तो ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन पॉसिबल है। एंड वी हैव सीन नॉट जस्ट वन केस, hundreds of cases like this. We ourselves are proof of that concept कि अगर जप करने से हमें सत्वगुण बढ़ता है। I personally can claim vouch that I was in a tamoguna. I was in a majorly in the rajoguna and combination of tamoguna. But today, if I'm able to wake up, I have a desire to wake up early in the morning. I have to wake up to japa every day. All that is possible because of my association with devotees and mercy from my those devotees, senior devotees, and Lord Himself, that I could develop these desires. Now, these desires, having such desires itself is indication that I have some sattva guna developed. I may not have developed Shuddha Sattva completely, but I am progressing than what I was. So there is hope for everyone. There is, no matter where we are, and that's the beauty of Bhagavad Gita, that it includes everyone. भगवान सभी को भगवत धाम लेना चाहते हैं। जो जहां हो वहां से उसको उठा लेंगे। जैसे सूर्य गटर का पानी भी शुद्ध करके बादल में पानी बारिश बना के भेज देता है, और जो निर्मल जल है तालाब का, अच्छे तालाब का निर्मल अच्छा जल है, उसको भी वाफ बना के बारिश बना के वापस धरती पे ले आता है। सो भगवान भी ही वॉन्ट्स टू टेक एवरीवन, हम चाहे गटर में पड़े हो या हम सत्व गुण में हो, Bhagwan Krishna for us, Krishna look at us equally, and Krishna is wants to give us equal opportunity to go back to Him. That's his. That's why He's so merciful.
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी।
Okay,
हरे
प्रभु जी,
दंडवत
थैंक
प्रणाम।
यू। और क्वेश्चन है प्रभु जी, वन मिनट। सॉरी प्रभु जी।
ये साथ माता जी, बैजू प्रभु जी, आप उनके बाद।
मैं डिजायर मैं डिजायर से करती हूँ सिर्फ, मतलब उसको ऐसा बोलते हैं ना, अंदर से ऐसा है ही नहीं लगन, मतलब वो करना, उसको पूरा करने की एक्टिवनेस ही नहीं, क्या बोलते हैं ऐसा, लगन ही नहीं है, ऐसा करना है, डिटर्मिनेशन ऐसा नहीं है मुझे। मतलब
Correct.
एक दिन करती हूँ, 2 दिन करती हूँ, फिर लो हो जाती हूँ, फिर कुछ सुनती हूँ, फिर थोड़ा एनर्जी आती है, फिर लो ऐसा। फिर ज्यादा करके मैं उसको पूरा करने करी, मतलब सब डेट अभी कार्तिक में ऐसा प्रण ऐसा बोलते हैं ना, कुछ कुछ ऐसा करो, फिर मैंने कुछ किया, थोड़ा बहुत डिफिकल्टी आया, फिर मैं पीछे हट जाती हूँ, ऐसा हो जाता है।
तो उसके लिए माता जी, यू नीड एसोसिएशन ऑफ ड्यूटीज, भक्तों का संग चाहिए उसके लिए। तो कि हमको ना एक दूसरे को मोटिवेट करना है। When we say that we met yesterday, बैजू प्रभु जी आए थे, अमरनाथ से आए थे बेचारे। क्यों आते हैं? जैसे अश्विनी शुक्ला प्रभु जी बेलापुर से आए थे, जुहू। विकास प्रभु जी बेलापुर से जुहू आते हैं। अगर हम भाग्यश्री माता जी ऑल्सो आई थिंक कम फ्रॉम बदलापुर, अमरनाथ। डिवोटीज कम, व्हाई दे कम? बिकॉज वी वांट टू एनकरेज अदर्स, वी वांट टू गेट एनकरेज्ड ऑल्सो। ये वर्ल्ड दुनिया में कोई भक्ति कर नहीं रहा है। हमारे नेबर्स नहीं कर रहे, हमारे माँ बाप भी नहीं करते होंगे, मेरे पिताजी भी नहीं करते, मेरे बच्चे भी नहीं करते हैं। तो ऑल अराउंड अस हम अकेले हैं, ऐसे लग रहा है कि पूरे, मतलब अब मेरे सराउंडिंग में तो मैं अकेला ही भक्ति करने की कोशिश कर रहा हूँ। मेरे सारे दोस्त 8 बजे उठ जाते हैं, मैं 6 बजे उठने की कोशिश करता हूँ, 5 बजे उठने की कोशिश करता हूँ। सो द एनवायरमेंट, इवन इफ वी आर लिविंग इन इंडिया, is not very conducive because everyone is Western, influenced by the Western culture. So that's how we are. That's why we have very, इवन इफ कल हम जो महाराज से कथा सुन रहे थे, वो अफ्रीका में प्रीचिंग करते हैं, साउथ अमेरिका में प्रीचिंग करते हैं, ईस्ट अफ्रीका में करते हैं। इमेजिन वहां जाके आप लोगों को कैसे समझाओगे अफ्रीका में कि आपको मीट ईटिंग बंद करना है? वो तो एनिमल्स करके रहते हैं, वहां पे एनिमल्स किल करके खाते हैं, सारे एनिमल्स को खाते हैं, पता भी नहीं हमको क्या क्या खाते हैं वो। उनको वो वही सिखा रहे हैं जो प्रभुपाद जी ने 4 नियम दिए हैं। बोलते हैं इलिसिट सेक्स नहीं करना, मीट ईटिंग नहीं करना, दारू नहीं पीना, इंटॉक्सिकेशन नहीं करना। इस तरह से उनको समझा रहे हैं और भक्ति में लगा रहे हैं। वो लोग भी अभी जपा कर रहे हैं। सो इट इज पॉसिबल विथ एसोसिएशन। अगर हम एकांतकी हरेर भक्ति उत्पात एवं कल्पते, हम अकेले रह के अगर भक्ति करना चाहेंगे तो उत्पात होगा। उत्पात मतलब गड़बड़ होगी, and we will not be able to dedicate ourselves to the process of bhakti. बट इफ यू आर इन एसोसिएशन, वी आर सेफ्टी नेट है। सेफ्टी नेट मतलब हम गिर भी जाते हैं तो नेट लगा होता है, तो उसमें गिर जाते हैं, तो कोई ना कोई फिर भक्त आके उठा के हमको वापस भक्ति में लगा देगा। तो इसके लिए वी नीड टू ऑफर अवर सेल्फ टू द प्रोसेस ऑफ भक्ति। सो इसके लिए भक्तों का संग होना चाहिए। वी शुड बी टॉकिंग टू द डिवोटीज ऑन अ, नॉट ऑन डे टू डे बेसिस, बट एटलीस्ट वंस अ वीक वी शुड हैव कैंडिड कॉन्वर्सेशन विद डिवोटीज। फेस टू फेस हो तो बहुत अच्छा। इस तरह से भक्ति में हमें एनकरेजमेंट चाहिए, और वो मिलती है, बाकी भक्तों से मिलती है।
यस प्रभु जी, मैं जहाँ रहती हूँ वहाँ पे एक बेस है, सेंटर है, अ, वर्ली में, मुंबई में। तो वहाँ पे मैं कभी सेवा के लिए जाती हूँ, थोड़े बहुत मतलब हेल्पिंग के लिए, किचन सर्विस वगैरह। वहाँ पे मतलब वहाँ पे भी जाती हूँ, उनका भी मतलब मुझे ऐसा लग रहा है कि मैं ये दो कर सकती हूँ ना, मैं आपका भी सुन सकती हूँ, फिर वो भी कर सकती हूँ। फिर कभी कभी, अभी आप सैटरडे को बुलाए थे ऐसे यहाँ पे, लेकिन वहाँ पे सुबह सेवा था और शाम को थोड़ा मेरा कल एक थोड़ा प्रॉब्लम हो गया, फिर मैं थक जाती हूँ, फिर ऐसा हो जाता है और मैं अकेली नहीं आ पाती हूँ, ऐसा भी है। मुझे ज्यादा इतना पता नहीं है, मेरे हस्बैंड के बिना मैं ज्यादा किधर, मतलब इतना पता नहीं है, ऐसा भी
यस,
प्रॉब्लम्स आ
सो
जाता है
दैट्स फाइन
ऐसा।
माता जी, बट वी शुड हैव एंडेवर। बट हमारा वो डिजायर होना चाहिए, एंड देन कृष्णा विल अरेंज। आप डिजायर एक्सप्रेस करो कि मुझे जुहू जाना है, जुहू मंदिर देखना है, और बहुत सुंदर मंदिर है, और इतने सारे भक्त थे कल। यू कैन सी मोर देन 100 devotees were there, and we were listening to the katha, and every Saturday we do that. So whoever are in Mumbai should aspire, should inspire to come actually. So that way, we get exchange our enthusiasm. हम inspired होने आते हैं मंदिर में, भगवान को देखते हैं. We meet Krishna is there. Radha Raspberry is there. Yesterday Maharaj was explaining how Prabhupada purchased 2 tickets for Radha Krishna when he was going to Nairobi for DT installation. So he himself was sitting, next to him was Radha Krishna was sitting, and another assistant was sitting. So he bought 4 tickets. So he didn't loaded them in luggage because Krishna is personally present. Such is his relationship with Krishna. And when Krishna is there, and we go in front of him, we pay obeisances to him. Why you think he will not give us mercy? Why will devotees not be merciful to us? So we will feel inspired by association, and there where we should look forward to grab every available opportunity to associate with devotees, to talk to devotees, to phone pe baat karo, face to face baat karo, milo. Wherever possible, we should do that. So that should be our meditation and prayer to Lord Krishna. Okay.
Okay, Prabhuji.
बहुत बहुत
Thank you,
धन्यवाद माता जी,
Prabhuji.
बहुत अच्छा क्वेश्चन पूछा. हरे कृष्णा. Baiju Prabhuji, yes, you can.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for guiding us. Prabhuji, as you said some time back, that no meat eating, no intoxication, no gambling, and no illicit sex is allowed in. If those who are doing these things, these are the reasons of tamoguna, we can say, and this is leading to adharma. So, Prabhuji, what I think that those who are indulged in these activities, it is very difficult for them to get the human body in next janma, because in Bhagavatam, actually, I heard one verse that labdhva sudurlubham idam bahu sambhavate manushya arthadam anityam apiham. It means it is very difficult to get the manushya yoni. So, Prabhuji, what my question is now that we are seeing currently that human populations are increasing day by day. If you will see in 1924, it was around something 18 million, and now it is something 8 billion. So in 100 years. So Prabhuji, so what do we consider it? Whether non-human species are getting human body, or the souls are coming from another planets, or the the humans are doing dharma activities, and because of that they are getting again this body. Because I've also heard that the non-human species are getting, they are not having the intelligence, and because to do the bhakti, so it is difficult for them to get the human body. So what it is actually, if you'll explain, that
Yeah.
will really
So
clear my doubt.
so there was a question that was discussed कि souls का population कितना होगा, कि souls का population कितना होगा is a question just like sun के rays कितने हैं. When we sunrise अभी हुआ है, how many sun rays are there? One sun ray is, I'm living in Vile Parle, my home is illuminated by sun rays. There are many sun rays are there in my home which are illuminating. One ray, every sun ray, single sun ray has the quality of sun. Sun की qualities क्या है? To give heat and light. Correct? A sun ray come into my home can give light and can provide me with heat. Now, what could be the population of those sun rays? Now it's like answering a similar kind of a question or similar analogy we can see that how many jivas will be there, how many souls are there. So they are unlimited. So what we can count is what we can see in human form, but the population of soul is unlimited. Krishna is unlimited. He is not manufactured a given quantity of souls, and those souls are eternally existent. A soul, once he goes into an animal body, as we heard in some of the purports today, that he has to go through the evolutionary process. And how you can attain animal body if you are attached to, say, meat eating. If you happen to give up your body thinking about chicken, ये खाऊंगा वो खाऊंगा, मरते मरते ये मरने के पहले तो खिला दो। इस तरह से if that consciousness, if somebody leaves his body in that consciousness, he may very well attain body of a chicken, and from there onwards he will go through a evolutionary process. A process of evolution he will follow. Now that process of evolution also need not be same for everyone, and somehow eventually he may come to a body, he may get a human form of body, and within human form of body also there are 4 lakh different types of bodies. So within humanity also there is a elevation that's happening. Some people are in the lower form of body, he will get a higher form of body. So within human form also, within human species also, there is evolution that's happening, and within animal evolution, there is also evolution happening from animal to human, and ultimately the final opportunity is available to humans only to elevate themselves to the spiritual platform. That opportunity doesn't exist to any other species of life. There are exceptions, just like Gajendra Moksha जो लीला हुई थी, the that we see that Krishna, when Gajendra offered prayers, he remembered his past life and he offered beautiful prayers to Lord, and Lord Hari came hurriedly uh, from riding on a Garuda, and he was in a hurry. He was so much in a hurry to save his devotee that he jumped off. Jumped. He didn't even waited for the Garuda aeroplane to land. He jumped from there, and while jumping itself, he released his Sudarshan Chakra and cut the neck of that crocodile, Huhu, Gandharva. So we see that Gajendra was given moksha in his animal body itself. But Bharat Maharaj, on the other hand, we see was also, given a human form of body immediately after that, after taking deer's body. Bharat Maharaj became deer, and then deer became Jada Bharat, and then that Jada Bharat body, he was given moksha. He was taken back. He went back to Godhead. So we see every soul can have different path, but predominantly, by and large, the elephants that we see today are obviously not Indradumna Maharaj in their past life. So they are going through their process of evolution. So they will not get moksha. They will not have opportunity to perform bhakti in the animal form of life, and they will have to rise to a human form of body and then attain get an opportunity to perform bhakti and go back to Krishna. So that way, will that increase human population eventually more? Maybe yes, maybe no. But that's for Krishna to figure out. Krishna and Durga Devi to figure out. What we can do, we can become instrument in the mission of Krishna, to spread Krishna consciousness. We can become nice devotee ourselves and become an instrument in spreading Krishna consciousness to others. In that way, affirming our own belief, affirming our own faith, and that way becoming attracting some mercy in the process from Lord and senior devotees, and eventually using that. Depending on that mercy, we can hope to go back to Krishna in this lifetime. So that is briefly how I can, summarize your question.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for clearing the doubts. Thanks a lot. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji. There are no other questions in the chat box also. So yeah, no other questions. So thank you so much everyone for staying back till it's almost 1:30. We'll conclude today's session. We'll come back next Sunday with chapter 15, which is another very beautiful chapter, one of my favorite chapter in Bhagavad Gita. And I have just 20 verses, but very impactful chapter. It contains almost summary of entire Bhagavad Gita. So request everyone to remove time and attend that session as well, so that we can continue and conclude eventually our journey of studying Bhagavad Gita, 18 chapters in 18 sessions. Thank you so much everyone for staying back so late. Pray to Lord Jagannath Ji, Gaur Nitai, and Srila Prabhupada for their mercy, so that we can learn something, we can feel inspired to become nice devotee in this lifetime. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna,
Thank you,
Prabhuji,
Prabhuji.
Dhanavad
Hare
Pranam,
Krishna
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji,
Hare
Dhanavad
Krishna,
Pranam.
Prabhuji,
Thank you so much.
Dhanavad Pranam. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanavad Pranam. Thank you very much for hurriedly giving us Hari. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you for the session today.